So we've been playing with the grinder here, and this is what we've come up with, at least so far. Let's see if I can get the camera down here where you guys can see better. And the light's a little garbage, but we'll deal with that. Alright, so this is an 044. It's a little older version. I've already put some black marker because I don't have any Dykem to do this with, so I just use a Sharpie. Got to remember we're out in the sticks. This is the port shape that I come up with. It's kind of an oval shape. And here's the gasket, so you guys can see this is a aftermarket intake gaskets, and they usually have a little bigger port than stock. If you can see here, like they're already bigger right there. You see where that black is? That's where this gasket is bigger than the stock port. So like if you were to do like just a daily driver little streetcar of stock heads, I'd say gasket match it to the round gaskets. We're doing something a little different here. We're trying to get this thing as fast as we can go without being too crazy. So the port is a little on the large size. It's a D-shaped port, which usually works well. And you can see how much bigger it is. Here's the port right there, stock, and it comes all the way up to here. The reason I stopped there is because I don't know how thick the manifolds are going to be when we get them, and they may not be the super big beef type, and we don't want to go way out here. Now if it was a welded manifold, we could go way out here, but that would be a little big for a 40 by 35 and a half valve. I brought it back here, but I kept the hump, brought the port back, and I brought it over and blended it in towards underneath the valve, and I'll show you guys that next. But that's the size difference. It's kind of a D shape, offset D is what I ended up going with here for a port size. And it's just kind of what I ended up with. Hopefully you guys can see in there. It is definitely, I removed some material over on this side to help straighten the port out. It still has a little bit of curve. You got to have curves in here. You can't just make straight stuff. And blended it back this way into the bowl area here. The bump is still there. It just doesn't really look like it. A little valve spring bump right there. You got to keep that in there because that's where your valve spring sits. It's right there. You can see there's the port, the bottom of the port, and there's the valve spring pocket. So if you go grinding that out, you're going to find yourself with a hole in there. But you can see, let's see if I can get it. There we go. It's much straighter. You can see more of the valve, and everything is smoothed in. I blend in this wall. There's a nice big lip underneath the valves here. Hopefully you can see that. And same thing on the exhaust. The exhaust I didn't do anything really to other than just I cleaned up underneath the valve, and on the stock part of the chamber here, the valve is so much larger in these that they mill a little horseshoe shape right here on these older CB heads. So I just brought this back and laid the wall back out until the board line, so just to kind of clean up that area. I didn't really make the chambers a different shape or anything. You can make a different shape and improve flow, but you know, I'm not a head expert, so I didn't try and play with that because that's where there's a lot of different things with flow going on there with the chamber shape. So I just unshrouded the valves a little more and started polishing. I still got to finish polishing it. On the exhaust side, I just ran the flapper wheel through it. I cleaned up at the very bottom where the head and the valve seat meet. I cleaned that up there a little bit and smoothed it and blended it a little better. And same thing on the short side radius. It was already a pretty good turn. I just ran the buffer through there to try and get it smoother. And when I'm saying buffer, what I mean is one of these sanding discs that eventually comes apart. They'll come out like that. They're usually a drum, but when the glue starts separating, they become a flapper wheel, and they'll just go in there and clean up and smooth everything out. And we're not using anything super spectacular except for this. This is a single carbide bird. Usually the cheaper ones that you find in a kit are like this style. And I don't know if you guys can see, but this has much more cutters on it. This is like what you'll find at a hardware store. This is something you'll probably have to order online. This is for aluminum. This is for iron and steel. This will do much better than these, but these will work. They're just a little more pain. This will remove much more material faster. So definitely get one of these. It's just a little Christmas tree shape. They sell different shapes and stuff, but this one works the general purpose really good. And the old Harbor Freight grinder, electric grinder. You can use an air grinder, but that's what I got right now.